Brooke Plack, your host here today on the Grit Crusade podcast, and I'm so excited to have my friend Abigail Otwell.
I'm so
Yay!
excited to be
So
here.
happy to have you here. So, Abigail is our first spouse or partner of a former guest.
Yeah,
See, yeah,
there you
you're the
go.
first person I've had on that I also have had their like partner or spouse on. So
Well,
that's
there you go.
exciting.
That's
So
cool.
your husband is Taylor Otwell,
Yes.
and you guys have Laravel, and you
Mhm.
are his better half, right?
I
Yes. Yeah,
guess.
yeah. And you're a mom. You got two kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
2
So tell us a little
kids.
bit about you and your life and what's going on right now.
Let's see. I have 2 kids. James is 13 and Victoria is 11. We
And you
call
guys
her
call her
Birdie.
Birdie,
Yes.
right? That's the cute. How did she get that nickname?
Um, well, she was just like a couple days old and she was like laying in her swing and she had like these really bright eyes and she was just like so observant. And I was like, she looks like a baby bird.
Oh,
So I
and it
started calling
just
her Birdie and it
stuck.
stuck. But
Oh,
this is the first year at school that her teachers won't call her Birdie.
they just
They
say
won't
no.
do it.
They're just no
Yeah.
nicknames.
Mm-mm, no.
Well, is she in middle school now or junior
Yeah,
middle
middle
school?
school, yeah.
Yeah, so like upgraded.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Yes.
a different world.
Yes, yes. All right. And so you guys have had a crazy summer traveling. So
Yes.
where all did you guys go this summer?
Let's see. We had our 2 big trips were to Italy. We went to, Amalfi, Capri, and Rome.
Okay, the freaking road in Amalfi.
It's
So
terrifying.
we got married in
It's so
Greece,
scary.
in Greece in 21, and then
Yeah.
we went to Italy, and it was like intense, and you can't get anywhere quick.
There's no, it's not fast, and the drivers are crazy, and then you have people just, like, walking alongside the roads that are just, like you look off and it's just, like, death, like
It
I
literally
mean
is. It is.
yeah,
And it's one road. And they're like, wait a second.
yeah,
It's a one way. I'm like, no, no, it's a one road.
one
Like this
road.
whole side has to
Yes.
stop and not go anywhere until
Yes.
this side's done. And
Yes.
then this side goes. It's like not American roads whatsoever. And
No.
I was like holding on to like both sides of my chair the entire time we were there.
It was so scary, especially going at, like, after dark from, like, the restaurant to back to our hotel. Thankfully, we didn't drive ourselves. There was
Yeah.
no way. But it was scary, like,
What
just
did the
hope
kids think?
they were scared of the roads, of
Yeah.
course, but, they loved it. We had the best trip. We had so much fun. It was lots of good memories.
That's amazing.
When we got to Capri, the taxi that met us at the dock to get us off the boat transfer was like it was had no top on it, and it was, like, lots of different colors, like purple and pink and yellow,
Okay, wait.
and
I
it
think
was
I saw this picture on
yes.
social, and they like your suitcases were
Yes.
like hanging out of like a Barbie car
Yes.
with like ratchet straps or
Yes.
something or
Yeah, we
bungee
had, like,
cords.
these 3 big suitcases, and he just like, "Oh, that's fine," and he just, like, piled them on and used 1 bungee to
One
put them.
bungee, the whole thing.
And then it was those same kinds of roads, like, uphill all the way, hairpin turns. We saw one of those scooters, like, run into a cliff.
And you're like,
I'm like,
our bags
"We're
are
gonna
about to come off
die.
this
Our
side.
bags are
We're
gonna
gonna
be
be
in the
done
an
with no
ocean
clothes.
or sea," I guess.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so fun. And so, where was your second trip?
Spain. So
Oh.
we flew home. We're home for 6
Oh,
days.
that's right, because we were in Spain
Yes.
at the same time. Oh, we were in like the same town at the same
Yeah.
time. We were leaving as you guys were getting
Yes.
there. I was like, Spain. I just went to Spain too. Oh yeah, we were messaging then. Yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah.
is so crazy
And
because
now was
we
that just you and Taylor, or the kids go
yeah,
too?
no so the kids go to the lake every year for, a week over the
Yeah.
4th of July with, family, so we always use that to do, like, our big anniversary trip. It's always over my birthday, so it's
Oh,
just kinda like a fun
fun.
time to get
Yeah.
away. So we flew home. We're home for 6 days, then we flew all the way back to Spain. But it was so much fun. We just had a blast. It was a really good trip, but that was more relaxing. Like, our Italy trip was, like, lots of adventure, going, going, going.
Right.
But Spain, we were like, "Okay, let's just go to the beach clubs and just kind of chill out." So
Right.
that was a good
And
change.
so you are a stay-at-home mom, right?
Yes.
Except you have a little bit of part in this Laravel stuff because you travel with Taylor to these amazing conferences
Yes.
that you do. So for our listeners who maybe haven't listened to Taylor's episode, tell us just a little bit about what Laravel is.
So Laravel is a framework for building websites on. You can use it to build any kind of website. Lots of big companies use it, like St. Jude's. We know Apple uses it for some things. Google, just lots of. We don't even know who all uses it unless they tell us, like, "Hey, I work here and I use it."
But
So
whenever I don't know, invented, created, maybe I should say Laravel, it like blew up the industry the way things have been done before, right?
yes, yeah, it was kind of a game changer. He built it. I remember him being like, "I'm just going to build this thing because I don't really like what's out there." It's just for me. I'm sure no one will use it. I'll just use it for
'Cause he
my
had
own
an like, a
apps.
full-time job while he was
Yes,
doing this.
yes. And
Yeah,
we had a
and
baby
and a baby, yeah.
that didn't
Because
sleep
you guys
ever.
yeah, yeah. Oh gosh.
Yes,
So that
he
was
was up
James,
all
right?
yes, he was up all night. So, he would work all day, come home, be with us at night, and wait till we went to sleep at night, and then he would stay up till, like, 2 a.m. coding on this fun project that he
That you
had.
were like, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, "Cool." It's so funny because over the years, we had, walked and talked about ideas while we were just, like, walking around the park and, like, what could you do to, stay at home, work for yourself. It was kind of a
Yes.
major pipe dream at the time. We
Yes.
talked about so many different crazy ideas, for apps, and then this one just kinda happened by chance, like, we didn't had no idea that anyone would use it or anything.
And it
So,
changed your life,
yes, I mean,
your whole life.
completely changed our
So,
lives,
for
like,
people
no
that
idea.
are curious about how, Taylor that whole journey, we'll link down in the show notes the Taylor's episode so they can go back and hear because it's so interesting to hear the paradigm of where he was like, "I made this great thing, and everyone loved it, and I was making no money off of it."
Yes.
And then figuring out how to turn it into a business where he
Yes.
could stay home and
There
he
was a
could do
couple
those
years
things.
where it made nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so let's go back and let's talk about how did you and Taylor meet? Because 'Cause you've been together since you were pretty young, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, we met I was still 17 for a month when we met. Um,
for a month.
so we lived out in the boonies of Oklahoma. Like, I
That's
lived
where
in
you grew
this
up, and he grew up there too?
No.
Okay,
So, he grew up in Hot Springs, very normal childhood. I was born in Connecticut and raised in Pennsylvania, and then we moved to Oklahoma when I was, 16,
okay,
and we just lived in this we had, like, no money. We lived in this old, old, old mobile home, like
okay.
70s or 80s,
Yeah,
you know, mobile
like,
home,
barely
like,
holding it
no
together.
AC, no heat, like, yeah, it was pretty rough.
And so where by we, you have siblings?
Yes, I have 8 siblings.
Okay,
I'm the second oldest. So at the time, there was 8 of us living at home because my brother had, stayed in Pennsylvania because he was older. Um, so yes, there was 8 of us kids living there in a single wide, and, I guess there was 2, 3 it was 3 bedrooms, so us 2 kids were all split into 2 rooms, so it was, like, 4 per room, pretty much, like bunk beds and
yeah,
everything.
whatever you could get.
Yes, yes. So, the night before he was gonna come out and meet us, he actually met my dad online, and they were just kinda like friends, and Taylor was moving to the area, didn't know anybody. He was moving to Fort Smith, Arkansas from
Okay,
college
okay,
because he had gotten hired to work at ABF in Fort Smith,
okay.
and he didn't know anybody, so we were, like, 30 minutes over the border into Oklahoma. And so he was just gonna come out and visit us. He had nothing else to do really at the time on the weekends. So I went to this livestock auction the night before and bought a bunch of chickens.
This is so funny. I love this.
And I was killing chickens when he pulled up down our lane in his little sports car. I was like the one killing the
Like,
chickens. So I was
literally
covered in
breaking their
blood.
necks.
No, like we would like slit their throat.
So, yeah, yeah, here we
Yeah.
go, and here you are,
Yeah.
like, covered
Yeah.
in blood, like,
With a
"Hi,"
knife.
holding a knife. This is like Halloween perfect, like, I love this.
And my dad was like, "Hey, hi Taylor, come here and like hold this chicken while it's dying." So like Taylor almost passed out because he is
He didn't
not
grow up on a farm and
no.
stuff. Okay, okay.
And he was like, "I had to think of something happy and like look away because you know how they like
Yeah.
shake
Yeah.
and all that." So yes, and then guess what I made for dinner?
Chicken.
Chicken
Oh
straight
god.
off the
But you
warm
could
chicken straight to the
so
grill.
you cooked it,
Yeah,
though, and so he was like, "She's
yeah.
weighed a
I
man's heart through his
guess.
stomach." So
I
when you
guess.
first saw him, were you like, "Oh."
Well, it wasn't like an immediate
But,
he
like
was pretty quiet too. Our family was a lot.
but
Our
what
family
were you
was
wearing?
crazy.
Like, because you guys were
Very
Amish,
we're Mennonite.
Mennonite.
Yeah, we had cars and electricity, some
Okay, so
electricity.
so Amish is a culture that doesn't do cars and electricity.
Yes.
Mennonite is but, like, the clothes
The
are
clothes are very similar. Okay, so major differences are Mennonites could wear printed fabric,
okay.
whereas Amish were all plain
Who
fabric.
made these rules? Yeah.
Some men
Yeah,
somewhere.
okay.
I don't
Mhm.
know.
Uh-huh. That are
Um,
not into fashion, clearly.
no,
Yes.
not into
Yeah,
fashion.
yeah.
So like I sewed all of my clothes, all of my sisters' clothes. I have 6 sisters. And my mom's clothes.
Do you own a sewing machine right now?
Yeah.
Do you still sew?
I used to sew a
Yeah.
lot till Birdie, like, got to where she's just, like,
I'm not wearing that
not about
anymore.
that
Yeah.
ruffle life anymore.
Yeah.
It's kinda sad. Um, but yeah, I would sew all of our girls' clothes. I mean, I would even make, like, bras and underwear into cloth diapers, like,
All of it.
the whole 9 yards. Um,
And so being the second oldest, you had a lot of child-rearing responsibilities, right?
yes, and I was the oldest girl.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it
yeah.
went a boy, 6 girls, a boy, and a girl.
Okay.
And so I'm the oldest girl, so it a lot kind of fell
Like,
to
you
me.
were
I
raising
basically
kids.
yes, I do not remember a time where I did not have a baby on my hip. Like, I was carrying around babies since I literally can remember, and that was about 5 years old that I have, like,
Yeah.
memories of carrying them around. So, it's pretty
So
wild.
he shows up at this house, and
Yes.
there's all the people are Mennonite, and this is
Yes.
different than how he grew up.
Yes, very
And
different.
so how did you guys even establish a friendship?
Well, so that night, we actually didn't hang out a whole lot because I ended up going
Because you were
and
holding a knife and killing a chicken when he
yes.
showed up.
Yes, and after I got cleaned up and we ate dinner, I went and hung out with a friend that night, so I really didn't talk to him a whole lot, and he was kinda quiet at first because he used to be more quiet than he is now, and my family was like the opposite. We
Like,
were
"Rah!"
a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
And a lot
there
of
was
kids.
11 of us, and we were
I mean,
all
you put
pretty loud,
8
so
kids in any room, you're gonna
yes.
have chaos.
He'll tell our kids, "Don't use your Sawyer voice, use your Otwell
Your
voice."
Otwell voice, I love it.
I'm like, "That is
That's like me,
terrible."
my husband's a lot more quiet than I am, and I'm like,
Yes.
"Ah!" all the
Mhm.
time. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. I feel like it's really balanced both of us out. I think he's gotten, like, more outgoing, and I've gotten a little bit more
Like, reserved and like,
yes.
"Okay, here we
Yeah,
are." Yeah, bring
yeah,
it down a little bit.
yeah.
Okay. Alright, so then how long was it before you guys started dating?
So we hung out well, we knew each other for a couple months, and I guess he kinda asked my dad pretty quickly about me, and my dad was like, "I don't know, probably not right now," and he never told me, but I saw the email, so I kinda knew. Um,
Oh.
but then it was a few months later, he came over and we got to hang out more, and I really got to see like his personality. We had a lot of fun. And I was like, oh, I really like him. So I told my parents, and they're like, well, we'll see if he's still like interested because he was still like,
Had you ever dated before this?
no,
Okay, alright. I was
no.
assuming, like, I don't know much about the Mennonite culture, but,
Yeah,
was that
it was
allowed?
courtship only.
Courtship
Very
only.
much,
Traditional,
yes,
old
never
school.
alone.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Never alone. So, and then my dad talked to him, then a few days later, he came out and, like, officially asked me to court. So
Did
crunchy.
you get to leave? So crunchy. Did you get to leave the house with them?
For, like, 5 minutes. We actually went to Walmart for, like, 5 minutes.
I mean, that's a big deal though, probably,
Very,
but yeah.
very hot date.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Walmart. Yeah, I feel like when you're 17, like, anywhere,
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Yeah, and by this point, I was 18 because this several months had elapsed.
Did you have a car?
Um, I didn't have a car. I, like, shared my parents' cars, which
Okay.
were pretty,
So
like
you got a license. You were able to get a license?
yes,
Okay, yeah,
yes. I did not get my license, though, till I was, like, almost 18, I
okay.
think. I learned to drive in a 15-passenger van.
I bet you did.
Yeah, it had
Yeah,
also had no heat or AC. It was very
yeah,
rough.
yeah.
But, we had a discount grocery store at the time that kind of like I ran the place, so
Like your family, that was y'all's business?
yes,
Okay.
but I was really the main one in charge that did
In
everything.
Oklahoma?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where in Oklahoma was it?
We lived by the biggest town close to us was Poto, Oklahoma.
Okay, yeah. That's where
Um,
Carrie Underwood's from, I think. Is that right?
Pensacola, maybe?
Oh,
I
I
think
was close.
Poto's really
I was close. My dad grew
dumpy.
up in Tahlequah, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Tahlequah. So, anyway, I have a little bit of Oklahoma roots, I guess. Yeah.
so, like, last year while we were at competition at Fort Smith, I drove out there and brought Birdie, and we did the whole thing, and it was very
Like, for her to see, like, this is
somber.
where I grew up.
Yeah, she was like, "Wow."
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
don't know.
No, they have no idea.
They don't know.
I mean, they hear, like, bits and pieces, and then they'll think I grew up, like, in the 1800s, but
Yeah.
they'll be like one of them was asked me, they said, "Were pictures colored when you were
Oh
black and
my
white when you
gosh,
were a
I
kid?" I was
know.
like,
I know. Yeah, like, I'm
"Seriously?"
not that old. I am not
We even
that
had a
old.
digital camera towards, like
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now when did you graduate high school? Or
That's a hard
wait, hold on,
question.
did you graduate high school? Do y'all go did Mennonite people I'm not this sounds rude, but did they go to public schools or
No,
no? Homeschool. So you
homeschool
were
only.
homeschool only. Okay.
And my mom would just kind of graduate us when she got bored of schooling us.
Oh,
Yeah, we
yeah.
were not homeschooled very well.
Okay.
Um, I was 16. All of us were about 16 when we got graduated.
You're like,
So,
"Okay,
moved
we're
on.
done with that."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if we had struggled to get, like, a subject, she would just, like, skip it.
Oh,
So, like
yeah.
yeah, it
And now
wasn't
you have
good.
kids that are in junior high and, like, middle school,
Yes.
and you realize that that's,
I
like,
can't
not.
do any of their math.
Yeah, oh, I
Taylor has
bet.
to help with them
I
with
don't know
their
if I
math.
could help with math at this point
Yeah.
either, though. Like, I was never strong in math, and
Yeah.
so
He even had to, like, refresh on some things.
watch some, like, Khan Academy videos or something
Yeah.
and figure out how to do it because, I
Yeah.
mean, it's different now
Yeah.
for sure. So now you guys are living an affluent life, a totally different life than you
Yeah,
grew up
totally
in.
different.
How does that blend with your family? Like, do you have a relationship with your family or
That's kinda tricky. So, there's so many of us, and we're kind of all over the ballpark. Like, my brother lives in Phila or my brother and one of my sisters live in around Philadelphia.
okay,
And then, my family, the rest of them live out in Oklahoma,
okay.
but more like central Oklahoma. And, except for my one sister who lives here,
Yes.
Lydia. So and then, like, a couple of them still live at home. Well, 3 of them still live at home technically, but, like, my parents actually got divorced a couple years ago, which was, like,
Oh.
shocking to everybody because they were like, that was so
Are they
taboo.
still Mennonite?
No.
No one's Mennonite.
No one's Mennonite, but, still very conservative in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But then, like, my sisters can now wear, like, skinny jeans and stuff, and I'm like, "Where was that when I was there?"
You were
They can watch romance novels and or what
were you
romance movies
yeah,
and
and you're
stuff,
like,
like, never. That was
nothing.
huge. I remember my brother getting in trouble for watching a, country what like, an old country western.
Oh, so, like, anything, like, pop
Yeah.
culture is out. So
Bad,
how
very
did they
bad.
transition from being Mennonite to now we're no longer Mennonite?
I guess I just w so, even growing up, we weren't only Mennonite. We were kind of all over. I feel like my parents were on this constant quest. I don't know what they're looking for, but they
Wh
were just all over the ballpark. Like, we went to little Baptist churches. We went to we home churched a lot with other families. That never went well.
I've
Um,
never heard home churched as a
yeah,
term, but I get what you're saying, yeah.
yeah.
Who's the
Um,
preacher if you home church? Like, is it just, "Okay,
well,
today it's you, brother
yeah,
Bob."
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
it's very
yeah,
country.
yeah.
Um, and we even went to, like, synagogues some
Okay.
growing up. Like, we were all over. Like, I have been in every church.
Yeah, every type of everything.
Yes. I remember we went to some Jewish place, and my brother and I learned, like, Jewish dancing, like, when I think I was probably, like, 7?
Jewish dancing? What
Yes.
would that look like?
I don't even
Like,
remember.
is it like for my brain, it's like square dancing, but that's probably not it.
It's kinda different.
Yeah,
I don't remember
yeah,
exactly, but I do remember it being, like, kinda upbeat, and the music
yeah.
was very different. So we were kind of just always looking for something, never finding it. Always, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that they've still found what they're
They were
looking
looking
for.
for, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I feel like there's, has to be some sort of lingering, like, the things that happen to us as kids shape us as adults, right?
Yes.
And so, like, now you're living the life you wanna live, that you and Taylor
Right.
created for yourself,
Right.
but that's very different than how you were raised. Like, do you still have that internal struggle of like,
I yeah.
"Oh."
I do feel a little guilty sometimes, honestly.
Yeah, I think
Be-
they call that, like, imposter syndrome. Like,
yeah.
once you find a reasonable amount of success, then
Yes.
you start to, like, feel bad for enjoying your success.
Yes.
I had that
That's
conversation with my
yes.
assistant Dia, who's behind the camera that everyone doesn't get to see. Yesterday, I got a new car, and
It's so pretty.
Oh, thank you. I've never gotten a car because I wanted a car.
Yeah.
I've always bought a car because I needed a
Need a
car,
car.
and I
Mhm.
just wanted to get a Bronco.
Yeah. It's
But I was like, "I feel
I
bad."
know.
And she's like, "Don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, you work your ass off. Like,
Exactly.
you've
Yes.
built this life so you can buy a new car." But
Yes.
it's like, I get that. I
Yes.
get that. I
Yeah.
totally understand that it's different, Like, I'm first generation to graduate from college in my family. Like, when I was little, my parents bought a trailer, the pipes froze. I had to go live with my aunt for 6 weeks when I was an infant, and they had to sleep on their friend's floor. Like, we didn't have a lot,
Yeah.
like, it was we were I all my school clothes came from Walmart Layaway.
Yeah.
My mom didn't sew them, but, and I was so excited. We would get them in, like, May or
Yeah.
June for the next year, and we'd pay on it all summer, and then we get to go pick them up before school
Aw.
started and, do all those things, and so that was just that's how I grew up as well. And so, and we were very conservative Baptist. And
Yes.
so you didn't, dresses. I remember my dad
Yes.
like telling me, like, go back inside. You're not wearing that to church. Like, cause the
Yes. Oh,
skirt was not
yeah.
below the knee, like all the
Yes.
things. So it was a very conservative lifestyle. And now I can't imagine living that conservative of a lifestyle, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, which I know like times evolve and things change, right? But so now with the kids, are you guys raising them in church? Are you not? Are you like, how do you make that? You grew up religiously, like very diversely confused,
Right.
right? And so then,
Yeah.
then as you're raising kids and being a mom, like how do you bridge that gap?
I don't know, honestly. We Taylor and I have talked about this so many times because of course, where we live, it's like everyone's pretty much Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just don't really fit the mold, and I I think traveling too opens your mind a lot to other
To
religions
spirituality in
and
general.
spirituality in general,
Yes.
and I think it's like there's this whole world out there, and I feel like people that never get to travel and see that, it's easier just to be like one thing
Doing
and
what do it being like a
yes,
sheep. My
yes,
husband calls it a
yes,
sheep that just does what
exactly.
everyone else do.
Yes, and
Everyone else does. Yeah.
I just can't put myself in that box, and when the kids ask questions, it's actually really freeing to be able to tell them, this is what
This is God.
Buddhists think
This is
about
and
this.
this
This is
is
what Christians think about this. This is what scientists think about this. And you're free to make up your own decision because there's just not a clear cut answers for a lot of things.
yeah, and a lot of it is like we grow in our own spirituality.
Yes.
So like what we thought as a 12-year-old and what they think as a
Yes.
12-year-old is not going to be the same as what they think as an adult,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
And parenting's so hard anyway.
It is.
It is so hard. If you're an active present parent, which
It's hard.
I know you are, and
Yes.
I can't imagine. I mean, I was a middle school teacher for 7 years, middle school and junior high. So I was a public school teacher before owning businesses, and I love that age, but I can't imagine my kid being that age
It's really weird. There's a
because
lot of awkward things.
like I ask my friends with teenage boys, I'm like, "Do they ask you about pubic hair? Like, do they talk about like getting a boner? Like, what do you do in those
Right.
situations when they come home and they're like, Mom, these, I mean, like, because I want Crew to ask me.
He
I don't want
will.
him to Google it.
He will.
Because if they Google
You
it,
just have to be willing to be uncomfortable
yeah,
and have those discussions. We have had so many in the last 2 years, like, so
I
many.
can't imagine. Because James is in what grade?
He's in junior high, so he's in 8th grade.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
it's so messy.
Yes. So messy. It started in 6th grade, really,
Okay.
is when
All
it
right.
really started.
I've got 5 years then. Like, I brace
Yes.
myself.
But, like, I got him a book. I First of all, it's really hard to find a book that's appropriate for, like, a 5th going into 6th grader
Yes.
because, like, they don't need to know everything
But
right
they
off
need
the
to
bat,
know,
but they
like,
need to know, the basics and be kinda open that conversation. So I finally found one, I forget what it was called, and then I had him read it, and then I was like, "Do you have any questions? Did you understand what you read?" And he was like, "No, yeah, mhm." I was like, "Okay." Well, then just over time, he would get in the car and he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, so and so did such and such or said such and such," and we would just have this discussion. At the end of 7th grade, he came home and he was like, "Mom, somebody in my class said she's pregnant." And I was like cooking dinner and I was just like, "Oh, be strong,
you
Abby.
got
Don't
this. You could
react.
do
You can
this.
do this." And so I was like, "Okay." So we
Okay.
had that whole conversation like, she could be pregnant. And I wanted him to know about girls like cycles and puberty too, because that was also taboo at home. So my brother
Yeah.
was so clueless. And it
Yes.
made it really awkward. And it shouldn't be awkward. Like
No.
boys, and I wanted him to like, if a girl started her period and didn't know it, to be able to like,
Yeah.
help her out without being
The weird
uncomfortable.
kid that's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, tampon,"
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And he has a sister that's really close in age. So like he's gonna see that stuff laying around. He's gonna, at least he'll know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I
um,
love that.
yeah.
I love the book, starting with the book and then,
Yeah.
like, giving him some time to, like, digest it
Because it's a lot to
instead of
take
just
in
being
at
like,
first.
"Okay, let's talk about where babies
Yes,
come from." Like, because
exactly.
like, "Mom, I don't wanna talk about that,"
Yes.
like, so
Yes.
I
So
love
then
that.
and a lot of conversations I found help start in the car.
Oh my god, the car ride, like, picking up from school.
Yes.
Ugh.
Well, especially because until this year, he was too short to sit in the front seat, so he was in the back seat. So we weren't, like, looking at each other. I think it was, like, more comfortable for him to
Yes.
start those big conversations where we weren't just, like, sitting there, like, staring at each other.
Yeah, and it wasn't like,
Yeah,
"Mom,"
yeah.
he's just, like, in the back, like, hanging
Yeah.
back there, and, like, no
Yes.
you can't all I can see is the back of your
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's so true, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of
So I
sense.
think it'll happen. You just open that door, be willing to be uncomfortable because really you're only uncomfortable for a short time, then it gets more comfortable. Like it gets
Yeah.
easier to talk to them about stuff. Cause my mom, oh my gosh, it was you could
Uh-huh.
not ask her about anything without her acting like super
I remember
weird, like, "You're not
asking
doing this, are you?" Or and I'm like, "I don't even know what it is.
is
I'm just
yeah.
asking." Like
I remember being so we were living, because my parents built one of the first houses in Hurricane,
Oh,
and
wow.
so but before that, we lived in, like, a really small neighborhood over by Mills Park and Bryant, and so I remember coming home one day, so I had to be younger than 16 because we moved over there when I was 16, so and I said, "Hey, mom, what's an orgasm?" And she goes, "Haven't you read Cosmo?" And I was like, and
Cosmo?
I go, "You won't let me read Cosmo
Yeah.
because, they had, like, the black things over them at
Oh
the
my
Walmart,
gosh,
and so
how
you couldn't
funny.
get, like
Yeah.
so she wouldn't let me buy Cosmo
Yeah.
magazine, and that was her answer, and there was never any discussion
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Like, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Like, "Haven't you read
Yeah.
Cosmo?" And then I was like and there was no Google back then, so I
No.
couldn't, like, Google orgasm. So
No.
either it was finding it in the Encyclopedia Britannica, if we had
Right.
O yet, because
Yeah.
when you used to buy them, like, they would only deliver A and then B, and, like, every month you get a different letter, so I could
Ours would
only
have come from a yard sale,
yeah.
so probably it wouldn't have had all the volumes.
I love it. Yeah, half of it's torn out. You're like,
Yeah.
"The orgasm page is missing. Oh my
Oh, I
gosh."
wonder why,
Yeah, no
mom.
yeah, no doubt. So, I mean, yeah, so it's super uncomfortable,
Yeah,
like, doing
super.
doing all those things, so for
Yeah.
sure. Alright, so we have a fun segment on the podcast called Trivia in the Trenches,
Yes.
where I ask you a question, and I try to stump you, and see if you know the answer. Okay, you ready? Alright, and sometimes people know the answers, but sometimes they don't. Okay, what country did french fries come from?
Belgium?
You knew!
I only
Oh,
know
yes!
this because my child is obsessed with trivia, and
What?
she asked me this
Oh.
question, like, a week ago.
Oh my gosh, Bernie. Oh, Bernie. Yes, I had no idea it came from Belgium, and it was historians claim that potatoes were being fried in the late 1600s, and poor villagers in and I'm not going to say this right, Mayus Valley would eat small fried fish with it that they caught in the river. Yeah,
Huh,
so it was like a poor people thing, fried potatoes.
interesting.
I did
Well,
not know that. Bernie
thank
screwed the trivia in the
She
trenches.
knows
Ah,
so
she
much about
did.
everything. We went to California, she was like, "This is the such and such, region, and this is the kind of plants that grow here," and she was telling me all about, like, the ecosystem, and I was like,
How do you know
"How do you
this?
know this, and how do you retain this?" She's like, "Taylor, she retains everything." Like, I know a lot of stuff, but it's not there long.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it's
then
just,
you're like,
like,
"Hold on, wait a
gone.
second." Yeah, so her
Yeah.
and Taylor, you think are pretty
Yes.
similar?
Yes.
And do
Yeah,
you think that she
definitely.
would be interested in going in that career field one day?
Possibly. I do think she's gonna do something
Like
pretty
techie or
yeah.
engineering or
For a while, she wanted to be a, radiologist, and then she was talking about, being some kinda engineer, and now she's back to maybe being an esthetician, so we don't know, we'll have to see, it's so
an
funny.
esthetician. I
Yeah.
love it. My son wants to be a Pokemon trainer,
Yeah.
and
I
he
love it.
thinks that by the time he grows up, it'll be a real job. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, here
Yeah.
we are. We've
Yeah.
got goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, So,
Yeah.
and then every once in a while, he'll change his mind, decide he wants to be a policeman, and then he's like, well, I think I could be a policeman and a Pokemon trainer. And I'm
Yes,
like,
definitely.
surely you
Definitely
can.
could.
Yeah, yeah, because your son likes Pokemon cards too.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, it's
Crew's
quite the
obsessed.
collection.
Crew was upset. Oh yeah, after I forgot we ran into y'all at Target, and after that, Crew got home, and he goes, "Can we invite that boy to my birthday
Oh.
party one day?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm pretty sure he's a little old to come to your Chuck E. Cheese party, but okay, yeah, I know it's so crazy how kids connect
That's
over stuff
sweet.
like
It
that. I love
is.
that. Okay, so is there anything else you want me to ask you about? Did I miss anything? What's coming up for you guys next? You guys have some conferences coming up, yeah?
Yes. So, there's one coming up in Australia in November. We're
Okay.
not gonna go to that one because it's just a really long ways.
Yeah, we're going to Australia in 24. Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
friend getting married there.
Oh,
And so I'm like
fun.
looking at this whole airfare thing, and
Yes.
it's like 15, 18 hours to get
Yes.
there. And I'm like, okay. Like it's way further than Europe.
It
Like who knew you had to
is.
turn the globe like that far to get down there, you
It is
know?
very far, and I
Yeah.
feel bad complaining because people come every year to
Yeah.
Laracon from
Yeah.
Australia, but
But you've got kids and you've
yeah,
got
and it's a
school
busy
and
yeah.
and all the
It is
things.
hard to get away while they're in school, especially for, like, over a week.
Yeah.
Really up until this year was the first year that I was able to go to Laracon Europe
Yeah.
because we went to Portugal for that, because, let's see, the year that he started Laracon in Europe, they were like I think Birdie was a baby and James was like 2. So there was like no way. I didn't even get to go to Laracon US for the first couple of years.
And then it was a break because of COVID and the pandemic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and so finally, like, they're good, they are fine with me leaving, and, um, it's just a little easier now
Well,
to
yeah,
make
they're
those big trips. I
tweenagers.
know, they're just
Gosh.
like I'm just like, "Text me, I miss you," like
And they're like, "Huh?" I know. My son
my
told
son especially. My daughter, like, she'll text me a lot, but my son is just
Yeah.
like one-word responses.
"Hey, mom."
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yep.
That's all you get.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so you guys so you're not going to Australia?
No, but we're planning next Laracon US and Laracon Europe. So, we're going back to Amsterdam.
Oh, fun. I've not been there.
I have not either. He's been there like 8 times
Oh,
for his
wow.
because they're normally in Amsterdam. Um,
And so Laracon's where, like, all these, like, it's like Comic-Con, but for Laravel people?
yes,
Like
it's not quite as crazy as Comic-Con crowd. Let's just say that. We're
like,
actually going to Comic-Con.
are you really?
I think we're supposed to go there is it next week in Little Rock?
Oh, fun. Yeah, it's coming up. It's September is
Yes.
when it is. So my husband's into sneakers, and so he's wanting to go to SneakerCon. Yeah,
Oh,
so they have those. We
that's
were just talking about that. Like,
my
they have
son
them.
would be all over that.
Yeah,
He's all about sneakers.
my husband is too, and he buys, like, old ones and restores them and, like, sells them,
Wow,
and
that's
he
neat.
wears them, like, for once, and then he'll sell them, like, 6 months later, and then
Yeah.
today at 4, we both have to be on the app because
Uh-huh.
there's some sort of
Gotta get a
drop
drop.
today. Yeah, there's a
Uh-huh.
drop today. You know about the drops? Yeah, so these are and they're like, almost they're not the Tiffany ones, but they're that color. And
Okay.
so we need these shoes apparently today.
Yeah.
So that's what
Gotta
we're gonna
get
be.
them.
Yeah, we gotta
A
get
lot of
them.
pressure.
I know, right? Yeah. All right. Is there oh wait, you have one other thing I was gonna ask you about. So you have another Instagram that is for fashion, right? Abby
Yes.
Rose. So
Yes.
tell me about that. Like, what are you doing with that? Is that
I
just
don't
like
know.
fun or
It's
you
just kind
just
of for fun,
yeah,
like, I don't post the kids on there because it's public.
yeah,
It's just kind of like if I get good outfit pictures or something, I'll post them on there,
yeah.
but it's just like
A fun little
I thought
creative
about taking it to the next level, like trying to sign up with like some sort of
like sponsors or
management
agents
company or
or
something, but I'm just like, "You know what? That's just a lot of pressure."
it is, it
Because,
is.
I mean, it's hard to come up with content constantly. Like,
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm the most creative person when it comes to, like, being forced to come up with stuff, and I don't really have to.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Do I really wanna be recognized when I'm just, like, out and
Out.
about, on a
Yes.
trip with my kid?" Because all those big Instagrammers, they are pretty recognizable.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "I don't know."
And if you don't want to, there's nothing wrong
Yes,
with it just being a
exactly.
fun little
Yes.
project.
So that's kinda what I'm doing with my Abbey Rose life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fashionista. I shop like once a year.
Oh,
I go to a boutique, they pull a rack, I try on
nice.
for like 3 hours and then I leave.
Wow,
That's
that's the
it.
way to do
And
it.
that's because I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy
Yeah.
picking. I want somebody to go, oh, you look cute. And me say thanks.
Yes.
And that's the extent of my. But I have friends that are real fashiony, so I
Yeah.
like following it because I look at like I see like your pictures or other like fashion Instagrammers, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a great idea. I could like do that in a little bit different way, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's fun for people that are not fashiony to
Right.
look at other people's and be like, okay, maybe I can make an outfit kind of like that work. Or, oh,
Yes.
that's a cool brand. Like, and you can find out different brands on TikTok
Right.
or Instagram or all the things. So
Yes.
that's fun. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yes. Definitely come a long way from
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 your
our
sewing your
childhood
own
and yes,
clothes. I know.
sewing.
And just being comfortable in your own body. Because
Yes.
as
That I think that's partly why I did this, honestly, this Instagram.
yeah,
Because, like, no word do I hate more than the word modest
yeah.
because
That's what you were forced to do for 18
forced. And
years.
it was all on us to keep men from looking at us. And if being in those circles taught me anything, it's that the more conservative and the more you suppress these girls and women, the more weird stuff happens because the
Yes.
sexual abuse was rife in these circles because these girls have no voice.
None.
None. And it's like it was all on us to keep men from looking at us.
Which is not going to happen
It's not going to happen
ever.
ever. I mean, some men are attracted to feet.
They are. That's a whole thing. Like
Yes.
feetfinder.com or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
can I not wear a pair of flip flops in the summer because
yeah.
some guy's going to look at my feet? Like,
Yeah.
so it was just kind of like this whole thing of um, I don't know. I feel like Taylor's really helped me
Embrace your like
blossom.
sensuality.
Yes.
Yes. And be
And
like,
just
you're
like be comfortable and also having a daughter, like that's I never want her to be insecure about her body or to look at herself like she's a stumbling block or feel like she has to, not wear a two-piece around certain people or like I don't know, I just bodies are just natural and I like once again, when you travel, you see a lot of art is naked bodies
Yes.
and they're beautiful.
And a
Like
lot of beaches are nude
yes.
or topless.
Yes, so
Yes,
it's
yes,
Spain.
yes. We were topless beaches there.
Yes, well, I knew that, but,
Yeah, yeah,
we were on this boat day in Spain, and I swam quite a ways to get to
yeah.
this beach off the boat, and I get close, and I was like, "Oh, everyone's naked."
Oh, completely.
Completely. We're talking little boys, mom and dad.
Everybody.
Everyone was just naked and
And
free, and you
everyone
know
wears
what?
and everyone wears a two-piece even on the beaches that aren't
Yes,
nude, and it does not
yes,
matter what shape, size you are,
yes.
everyone's in a, like, string
I
bikini.
kinda like it.
Yeah,
Like, they
there's
were
no
just digging in
judgment.
the sand, butt
No
naked
judgment.
with just not a care in the world. Like, no one was looking at anybody weird.
Nope.
Here, I can't wear a tank top without getting looked at
Yeah,
weird. Like, it's
yeah.
just I don't know. I just don't like the whole stuck up, like, over
Over-sexualization.
sexualization of everything. Like,
America,
people are naked and free in other countries, and
nobody cares.
nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
No.
I love that.
Yes.
That was something we really enjoyed too. And so I don't think I've ever even talked about this publicly, but so we were on a topless beach, and so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, all the beaches are
and I'm
topless.
like, when in Rome, I mean,
Me
right?
too.
And so
Duh.
my 5-year-old's there, and like he
Yeah.
doesn't notice a single person is topless anywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I am in the water, and he comes up to me and he goes, "You don't have a top on," and I'm like, "I know."
Isn't it
I
wonderful?
know.
We're in
And that was all he
Spain.
said.
Yeah.
That's all he said, and never said a word about
Yes.
anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's not young people. It's like
No.
it is literally every single age. Every
Yes.
age. And
Yeah.
it's
And
just
it's normal.
yep, no one
That's
cares.
all they
I love
know.
it. Okay,
Like, they didn't have any tan
so
lines.
which was epic. I agree
Yes.
with that. It was
I
great.
know. I
No
wish we had that
bras, no
here. I
nothing.
wish
It
we
was
had that
great.
here.
I know we do need a lot more. There's a lot of things we can learn from Europeans
Yes.
about
Yeah.
life, about enjoying life.
Enjoying life. It's just a different culture. Everyone is
We
so
work too
happy and
much.
active, and they do take a lot more vacations.
Yes.
Like, it's unusual to them to take a week-long vacation. That's a short trip.
They're like month longs.
Yes.
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 They call them, what do the people from UK call them? They call them a holiday.
Holiday. Yeah.
Holiday.
Are you on
You
holiday?
on holiday? Are you on holiday?
I
Okay,
love
so
it.
do you remember the first time you wore a crop top? I feel like that
I
would have
mean,
been a moment.
gosh.
I feel like that would have been a moment for you
I probably was I would have had both of my kids.
because like think about it. Like you covered your body,
Yeah.
whatever. So wait, hold on. When you and Taylor, so you guys get married, and
Yes.
that's your first overnight together.
Yes. We did not even hold hands until listen, the, rehearsal was, like, 2 hours before the wedding. Okay, so we were engaged for 30 days. We dated for 2 months, we're engaged for 30 days.
Okay, so we're 90 days in.
90-day fiancé, 90 days total. And my dad wouldn't even let us hold hands at rehearsal, at the
Talk
wedding
about
day.
some sexual tension.
Yeah, well, it was just kind of like I don't know, it was tough because my my mom, I think, was really I know she was really controlling. So the night before the wedding, she just, like, became really cold to me, and, I had done everything by their book. Like, I was a rule follower.
Yeah.
No one can say I broke the rules back then. I think that's why I like to break rules now, but anyway.
You're
Um,
making up for lost time.
yes. So, the night before the wedding, she just got, like, really cold to me, and I spent the whole night, like, crying before the wedding. So, it was just kind of like a hard day.
Yeah.
And then the rehearsal, I was just kinda like, "Let's just get this over with and
Mhm.
be done." Like, move on with our life because I just knew that things would be better, afterwards. So, yeah, it was just kinda awkward. I don't have good memories of the wedding. Like,
So
that's
you
kinda
hold his
sad.
hand and you kiss him at
Yeah.
the wedding,
Yes.
and then you guys leave,
Yes. So we stayed the first night at his apartment in Fort Smith,
okay?
and then we went
Were
to
you like,
get this,
Walmart?
get this, our big honeymoon location was Branson.
Hey, girl,
We stayed
yes.
at Big Cedar.
I
It was
know you
fabulous. We had our
did.
own cabin.
And
All we
and
cared
were you
about.
in Mennonite clothes?
Well, so by then we had kind of started going more like Reformed Baptist,
So you
like
were wearing, like, jeans?
no,
Oh, still
no, I did
skirts?
not wear a pair of pants till it was like October. We got married in July. I got pregnant like that week or the week after
Yeah,
on our honeymoon, basically at Big Cedar.
at Big Cedar in Branson? Mhm.
Yeah, and
Hot.
then real hot, and then it was getting cold, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm so cold," and Taylor was like, "Why don't you get a pair of pants?" And I was like, "Huh?" Like,
You
"What?"
just hadn't thought about it
Well, no, I just like it was just like, "You know what?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so, like, I was so self-conscious the first time I went out in a pair of pants. Like, I thought everyone was staring at me.
and no one noticed.
No. And
Not
he was like, "Babe, no one notices." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Um, so that was interesting, but I'm trying to think. So we went so all of my clothes was either thrift store or homemade when we got married. And so like after we got back from our honeymoon, he's like, "You need some new clothes." I was like, "Well, let's go to Goodwill." He's like, "No, let's just go to Target." And I was
you're
like,
like,
I had never bought new clothes ever in my life.
"I
Like
love this."
never.
He took you to Target.
My mom would make us stay with the under like $1 rack at Goodwill. We couldn't even buy like the $3 rack. Okay.
Okay.
So we went to Target and I was trying stuff on and I was just like, I mean, I'm gonna be a mom. Is this really appropriate for me to wear? And he's like, "You're 19. You're a teenager. I think it's fine." And it was still very
But
conservative. I mean,
isn't that
like,
like just he's such a rock for you during that
yes.
time, which was
Oh,
so fragile
yes.
for you because 'cause you're trying to
Yes.
explore who you are as an adult,
Yeah.
and you've never really even been a kid.
No. No, never. No. I never play with toys. Like, I mean, I had a baby to take care of, from the time I could walk.
Oh my
And
gosh, and so
then
you've gotten Target clothes.
yeah, I got Target clothes and I felt so fancy. New clothes.
Yes, I love that. So I
Yeah.
could see how Abbey Rose would almost be therapeutic for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, "Damn it,
Well,
I'm gonna wear this if I want
yes,
to."
because after I started coming out of all that, I became really self-conscious about what people thought about me. Because
Okay.
especially living in this town, there's lots of, like, rumor mills and just, like, people I don't know, there's a lot of women that are just not very nice.
In life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It's
like I
just
try to keep those kind of people out of my circle.
yes, me too. And
Yes.
so, like, for a while, I was kind of, a little bit surrounded by that, I feel like, and so I was just, like, so self-conscious and kind of miserable, honestly. And then just coming out of that, he's like, "Why do you care?" He's like, "They're going to talk about you regardless." And I'm like, "You know what? You are
You
right."
are right, they are, and I
He's
need
like,
to
"Post that picture in that bikini. It's
do whatever
fine.
you
Do it." And
want.
I'm like, so yes, I do feel like it
I
was kind of
love it,
therapeutic
but
for
that's
me.
great though,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
posts pictures of you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just I mean, I don't know, I can when I interviewed him and I don't even know if we had met in person yet, I could just see, like, his love for you oozing out of him, like, as he
Aw.
talked about you, and it was
Yeah.
just precious.
He is
It's just
very sweet.
precious.
Like I've told him so many times, like, I did not even know that men like you existed.
Oh,
Because when I was a teenager, I my dad was a very angry person,
ugh,
and, um, I remember getting out of my bed one night and, like, kneeling by my bed and just promising myself more than anything, like, I'm not gonna do this to myself, like, if all men are like this, I'm never getting married." And I was just like I just felt better, like, I don't have to subject myself to this, and at the time, I didn't really see, like, a way out because I was still there, but, um, it's just like, I don't know, he's just so much better, and he never gets angry at me, and he never yells ever. Like, if I hear anyone yelling, it's like an instant trigger, like, I instantly tear up because it's just like it's a trigger. It
yeah, well,
is.
you lived that, but for
Yes.
how brave the younger version of you
Yeah.
must have been to even be able to see that you could make that commitment to yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
'Cause that's a lot. Like, you were
Yeah.
like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it's not
Yes, it's not
this."
this. I can't be this because I just can't put myself through this forever, like, I don't know, I think most of the men I was around, pretty much all the men I was around were very controlling, harsh men
Ugh,
because it was a very, disciplined, like, lots of spanking and, the women most of the churches we were in, the women couldn't even talk in church. I remember one Mennonite church went to, it was separate seating, like men on one side, women on the other.
stop it.
Yes.
In the 21st century.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So it was very much like women had no voice. Like the
Right.
men were very controlling. And I honestly think that's why a lot of these men went to these circles because a lot of them were like transplants because there's like born Mennonites, like born Amish, and then there's like these circles called we were in called the charity churches where it was kind of like all of these outcasts were trying to find
Their
something.
way, find their
It
way.
was a cult, and they found their way there. And so I really think that's why a lot of these men were attracted to these churches is because
Mm.
it put them at the head of the house in charge of everybody. And I don't know, just what they wanted, I guess.
It's
So
It seems so backwoods now, but
Yes.
I know there's so many people that still live like that.
So many.
There are,
Yeah.
and if, like, there's anything that you could say to someone that might be listening to this podcast that's living in a situation like that, what piece of advice would you give to them?
Hmm.
Like a
I
woman,
mean, you do have
who's
a voice and
yes.
it does get better.
I could underline that like 15
Yeah, you do
times.
have a voice and you need to use it. People are not going to like it, but you need to stand up for yourself because who else will? I mean,
Right.
no one else will in those situations. And especially if you have kids, like, please leave. Like, I don't know. I think it would have been better. It's hard to say because both of my parents have their own set of issues, but I do think it would have been a little bit more peaceful for sure had the divorce happened sooner.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I know people wanna stay together for the kids, but,
Yes.
like, your marriage is the model that you're telling your kids that this is how it should be.
Yes. And it just created so much chaos. There was constant upheaval and chaos in our
Well,
house.
and the
Like,
trauma that causes
yeah.
as a child that you carry with you in adulthood, and then you have to
Yes.
unpack that in therapy or however you deal
Right.
with it, and so it's a lot.
It is a lot. And it's crazy because I had a lot of crazy experiences as a child. Like, um it didn't it I don't look back on it. It wasn't all bad. Like, we did have a lot of meals together as a family. We did I
Yeah.
mean, it's still fun when my sisters and I get together and we, like, bake or cook because that's what we used to do so much of.
Yeah.
Like, we were always in the kitchen, or in the garden or in the barn, we're
Or
taking care of all the
slaughtering
animals, slaughtering chickens
chickens.
or cows or deer or, goats or I mean, like, literally, turkeys. We raised our own turkeys every year. We called them Christmas and Thanksgiving. We didn't celebrate Christmas, we called it Christmas. We only celebrated Thanksgiving, which is kinda weird. No Easter or
And so my mom
Christmas.
was raised Jehovah Witness, so when she
Yeah.
grew up, there was no holidays or
Yes.
anything, like, she
Yeah.
didn't have a birthday cake till she was 18, like, that kinda stuff, so she, definitely like, I learned a little bit about a different lifestyle from her,
Yeah.
explaining what it was like growing up Jehovah Witness.
Right. Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness, I think I'm saying that
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's a different world for sure, but I do feel like when you've seen, like, poverty like you and I have,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
you lived it. You lived hard work, like, hard physical labor.
Yes.
Um, you're not afraid of it.
No,
Like, I told Taylor so many times, like, if all of this went away tomorrow, we would be okay because we'd have each other. And I truly feel that way.
I'm
Like, when
like,
the
I'm
pandemic
like,
hit, I was like, "This is what I was born for." Like, if there's no doctors and no midwives or doctors deliver babies, I delivered babies at home. I delivered 3 of my siblings by myself.
"What?"
When I was 9, mom went into labor and dad was gone and had no cell phone. The midwife was 3.5 hours away, and she was like, "You're gonna have to deliver this baby."
At 9.
9. And it was just her and I until the very end. A friend ran in and helped me catch her. Yeah. And then I
Jeez.
went on to deliver 3 more by myself.
Like, we really can do more than we realize.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
can.
I really feel like it's just I'm not afraid of dirt or blood or spiders
Or
or
failure.
failure or poverty or, I've been really cold, I've been really hot, like, you just it's you're just I just know it's gonna be fine, like,
Yeah.
people get worked up about small things, but I really just feel like, I don't know, it doesn't really bother me.
No, it doesn't. There's a peace you have in knowing who you are and what's important to
Yes.
you
Yes.
and what things in life that you can do without,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. You can do without a lot.
Yeah, you really can. You
A
really
lot,
can. You
yes.
can. We're
And you
built
can still be happy. Like, I still remember
Yes.
moments of happiness.
Yes.
Even with
Yes.
amidst all of that happened, like, we were happy a good amount of the time, at
And you
least
didn't know
as
any other way.
yeah, we didn't know any different, so, we were happy.
Yeah, so how do you teach your kids this is like conversation like Justin and I've had about crew and stuff too. How do you teach your kids that kind of work ethic when they don't have to slaughter chickens and
I know.
cows
I've worried about that, honestly. We've talked about that a lot because 'cause I'm like, the my worst fear is raising kids that are entitled
or spoiled?
or
Yeah,
spoiled.
yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I also wanna, like, give them
What
the
you didn't
world because I didn't have it,
Yeah.
and, like, being able to travel with them is, like, so special to me. Like, it means so much to me, and I love that they appreciate it because they really do. They really love it, and have good memories of it. And Birdie's like, "I might go to college abroad." And I was like, "Please do. Go
Yes.
somewhere cool, like, experience the world." Like, there's so
Yes.
much out there.
Yes.
Um, so, yeah, I don't know. it's hard, like, James wants to get a job soon, and, I think he could work at, like, Chick-fil-A, I think next year when he's
Yeah.
14
Yeah.
maybe. So I was like, "Okay, yeah, get a job. That would be good," you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid of
Work.
work.
Yeah.
So, at the same time, we're not gonna just let them completely flounder, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
But I think it's good to teach them to work hard and to I don't know. I mean, Birdie dances hours a week. So that's
Yes.
teaches
Big leadership
its own
development.
lessons,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's good. That's good. Okay, so, you had a question for me. I don't think I put it on my notes, though. Didn't you have a question for me? Now I
yes.
forget what it was.
It was what was the biggest thing that helped you raising your son without your mom in your life?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is kind of weird.
It's
So,
kinda a heavy question.
he was probably 2 or 3 years old when I realized he would never meet her. Is that
That's
not
hard.
weird?
That's
So, I
hard.
think the first hardest part is like, I had him, he was 10 weeks early. He was a very traumatic delivery. He was in the NICU. I lived at Baptist Hospital for 29 days. Like, so we didn't have like oh, my baby, take him home.
Yes.
We didn't have any of that. I went
It's
into labor
hard.
like off the mat coaching one night. And so then I would see all of these pictures online of people with their moms and their new babies. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'll never have that.
Yeah.
And then when he was like 2 or 3, I realized he would never meet her. And so then I started realizing that I was going to have to teach him who she was.
Yeah.
And I was gonna have to tell him stories about who she was and how she, raised me and the things that she taught me. And then I've been so blessed to have so many other women that are close to her age in my life.
That's
Because
yeah.
I'm like, who do you call? Like, he's
Yeah.
sick at night. Who do I call? Like,
Right.
my mother in law lives like 5 minutes from here.
Yes.
And I have some women that I work with that are in their like 40s and 50s and 60s. And like, I call them.
Yes.
I have a stepmom in Northwest Arkansas. And so it's not the same as your mom. It
Yeah.
never will be,
Yeah.
but God plants wonderful people in our lives that we can
Yeah.
build that community with, and that's
Yes.
what we've tried to do is to build a community, around him, even though my parents I don't have any family that lives here, so it's
Yeah.
just my husband and his family that live here,
Yeah.
and so but that's hard.
It is hard.
It is very hard, you
I
know?
do feel like that too, though. I found some, really amazing people that have given me guidance that I
Yeah.
need.
You do need that
Yeah.
because I feel like whenever, you think back to like biblical times and
Yeah.
and even tribal times where all the families lived in the same house or
Yeah.
same area, even in Europe, they live
Yes.
multi-generational
Yeah.
in Europe,
Yes,
and
they do.
how do people afford luxury goods? Because they're not all buying their own houses and cars and all
Yes.
this other stuff. They're living together. And so a child is being raised with a grandparent or great grandparent. And so you're getting that wisdom right
Yes.
there, all like your familial history. And we don't have that in America.
No.
And so that's different.
It is, yeah. It is different, but my mother-in-law is also amazing.
Yeah.
Like, she
I don't know what
is
I would do with mine
everyone
without
has
mine.
told me, "You have the best mother-in-law." I'm like, "I do. I
I
really do. I
do.
lucked out." 'Cause, back when she met me, I mean, I was
19.
19 and, probably not what she had pictured for Taylor, because I was
Right.
still very, very conservative and, no makeup or anything. And she literally just burst into tears and gave me a big hug and, like, was just so happy for us and never said
Like
anything
never questioned
negative.
you
No,
or just
never.
she
She's
was
so sweet. She's precious. The
and
kids
she
call her
lived
Mama
close
Bear.
by?
Yeah, she's in Hot
Oh,
Springs.
nice.
Yeah.
So like 30, 45 minutes from here.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
kids get to see her a lot, yeah?
Yes. Yes. A lot. Yeah. Taylor's family is very involved. His aunt and uncle live in our neighborhood. They're the ones that have the lake house on Lake Washita. So
Oh,
they
that's where the kids go in the
yes,
summer?
they're actually going out there tomorrow because we're gonna go to Oakland for the weekend or
Oh,
just for, like,
fun.
a
Little
night.
horse racing.
Well,
Yes.
I think we're
Okay,
just gonna, like
the pool is supposedly fabulous at
so that's what we're
Oaklawn.
gonna do. We're gonna do the spa, go out to dinner with our friends, and spend the night, and then get up and go to the pool the
Are you
next
going to
day.
the Bugler, the restaurant at the
It's
hotel?
the Oak Room, I
Okay,
yeah.
there's one there called the Bugler, and
Yes.
it is fabulous.
Yeah.
We usually spend a weekend for the state cheerleading championship in Hot Springs every December,
Yeah.
and we'll go out and try a different restaurant each time and get dressed up, just the 2 of
That's
us,
fun.
but I had some my sister-in-law just did a girls' weekend at Oaklawn at the pool,
Yeah.
and it was
It's
fabulous looking.
supposed to be fabulous, and you can
Yeah.
order like, it's a resort style pool, like, you order drinks and food and
Yes,
stuff
they have,
right at
like,
the
little
pool.
cabanas
Yes,
and
yeah,
yeah, so I'll be
and
excited
I've
to
heard the same thing about the spa. I've heard the spa is
haven't done
amazing.
it yet
So we're
because
gonna do a massage, and you
yeah.
can use, like, all the facilities for, like, 90 minutes before. So it's
Hey.
like saunas and stuff.
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah,
That'd be fun.
be
I'll be
fun.
interested to hear how that went.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else you want to ask me about?
not
No,
that
you're
I can
good.
think
Okay. I
of.
have one question that I ask every one of my guests at the end. So, what's one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't yet?
Write a book.
Yay! Get it. I just started writing my first book.
I've had mine,
Did.
like, saved on my computer for, like, a
Wait,
couple of
it's written?
years. No, it's not written, but it started.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Yes. You have to
yeah.
do
Even if
this.
no one reads it, like, I think it's kinda
It
therapeutic.
is very therapeutic. It
Yeah.
is very therapeutic. So, would it be like about your story?
Yes. Yeah, but it's hard to know, like, I don't know, it's hard while your parents are still alive
Okay,
to
so I
know
feel
how
like
much to
my
share.
first my first book is not a memoir
Yeah.
because I'm like, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kinda tricky.
that boundary.
It's it's hard because I don't know why I don't think I feel like I should protect them because, like, I don't know, there's but then at the same time, it's like, I don't want to totally
Trash them either.
yes.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of, like, hard
Trauma.
things,
Yes.
So it's just like, I don't know.
And you wanna be
It's tricky.
truthful to your
Yes,
story.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's hard to know how to tell the whole story without it casting a bad light.
because sometimes it's
Yeah.
just bad.
It's just some parts are just not good.
Yeah,
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 so I don't
yeah.
know. We'll
Letting
see.
it rest right now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yes, thank
I
you so
love
much. It
learning
was
about your
so fun.
story and learning how much of a heart you have like mine. It's just like for women, but like women
Yes.
who are for each other.
Yes. And I don't get women who aren't. Like, who else do we have?
What's all we have
I
is each
know.
other. Like,
And women, nothing makes you happier than a woman smiling at you or giving you a
yes,
compliment. Men
yes,
can do it all day long and you're just like, "Ugh, whatever." But like if a woman does it, you remember it all day and into
yes.
the next day. Like it makes you
Like,
so
we're
happy.
getting more dressed up to go to lunch with our girlfriends than we are on a
Yes.
date with our husband.
Yes. And
Yes.
like at the gym, like I make eye contact with people, especially people that are struggling.
Yeah.
And I smile at them and I'm like, "You're doing great." And I cannot tell you how like they just light up. Like
Yes.
it just makes people so happy. I just don't understand being a mean girl.
Do you think it's because okay, so I have a theory that mean girls raise mean
They
girls.
do,
Okay, right?
because the mean girls that my daughter encounters, if I run into their mom, I'm like, "That's where
Oh,
it came
yeah,
from."
exactly where it came from. But
Yeah,
to me, it's like, have you not been through hard shit in your life?
I
Like, is
know,
that it? That you don't actually know what hard feels like? So you're trying to
right.
create hard all the time? Because for the rest of us who have been through hard stuff,
Yes, we
we
don't
don't
want
want
that.
that.
We
No.
have lived it. We've been surrounded by drama, and we don't
Yes.
want more. We don't wanna create more drama. Like,
No.
I truly don't understand
We
it.
want to bring joy.
Yes, and I've been teaching her, like, to be a girl's girl and
Yeah.
to not get caught up in all the drama, and so far, I mean, she just, like, doesn't care.
I love
I
that.
mean, occasionally, she'll be, like, a little down about something, but, I mean, she'll be like, "So and so said such and such, and it was kinda mean." I was like, "Yeah, that was mean." She's like, "It's fine because I don't really care." And I'm like, "Keep that too."
Yes. And don't be friends who talk like that. Don't be
No.
friends with those kind of
No, and
people.
you know what? The few people that have been like that, they've been able to push them out of their circle on their own,
Good.
and they've been so much better off.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm a girl's girl.
Me too.
I love giving people
But I'm very
compliments.
cautious about who I make friends with because
Same. My circle is very
I
small,
can't
like 2 people.
I've tried to be friends with people before
Yes.
and it and I realize that they're like habitual liars or
Yes.
they're talking behind my back or they're telling me
Yes.
stuff that's untrue and I'm like, I don't know
If
what
they're
kind of
telling you something about the person they just hang out with,
then they're talking about you the same
yes,
way. And so
exactly.
I can't do
I
it.
can't do it. I can't do it, and I think that's why I tend to hang out with I mean, some older people because I feel like older women are just kinda over the
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like I've always been kind of an old soul, but
Me too,
I
and
do
that thief of comparison steals so many
yes.
people's joy, and I just can't
Yes.
live there. Like, I never look at someone else, and maybe it's just how my mom raised me because she did
I
raise
don't
me really
either.
well in that way
Yeah.
of, like, I never look at someone and be like, "Ugh,"
No, and
ever. I'm like, "Get it!
I
Do
know, and I
it!
have people that struggle with
Yes!"
social media because of that, and I don't feel like that.
Me
Like, I
either.
like seeing your wins.
Yes,
I like celebrating, and I try to make, comments on people's posts and, like, really congratulate people and hype people up,
and I
and I
mean
mean
it.
it.
I mean it
I'm,
too.
like, legit
Di
excited. I'm, like, going to lunch with my husband, like, "Did you
Yes,
see
see
so
so
and
and
so
so,
is
they
doing
got
such and
this,
such?
they
I'm
got
so
a car, they're
excited."
opening a business,
Yes.
or they had a new baby, or like, and I
Yeah.
don't have that, and I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. Maybe it's just who we are.
Yeah.
You know,
And
maybe it
yeah.
was being raised in the
I
way
just
we were.
think
I don't know.
we've just seen a lot of real stuff,
Like,
like
who wants to live that?
yeah. no. I don't know. I'm always trying to look at the bright side too. Like, I think some of my siblings are kind of struggling because they look at the hard parts of growing up and they kind of stay there.
Yeah, that's
And
hard.
it's just not healthy.
You have
Like,
to process
it's
past
just
that.
it just it happened. And you know what? Nothing
You
I can do about it now. I would
No.
not do that with my own children, but I can take those lessons and learn from it and move on.
Yeah, no doubt. My husband says, though, that that drama is addictive.
It is.
You
That's what my
know?
husband says
He
too
says it's
because
addictive because, like, we have a
yes.
part of our recreational business is a cheerleading business, and we have
Yes.
competitive cheer teams,
Yes.
and we have parents that leave every season, and some of them we like to show greener pastures,
Yep.
but he tells me, he goes, "Brooke, the people who want that kinda drama, because we don't do that there.
No.
We will
No.
literally dismiss people from the program.
Yeah.
If you're sitting here
That's why we
talking
like Dancer's
like, if you're
Edge too,
talking to me about a
because
different somebody else's
yeah.
child,
Yeah.
we are not talking about somebody else's kid.
No.
Don't tell me why you think Susie shouldn't be no, Susie's not your kid.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
that's a child."
Yes.
But
Yeah. Children are off
he tells me,
limits.
he's like, "People can't stay that need that constant drama and
No.
addiction," and I'm okay with that. I would rather have a
Yes.
smaller quality program
Yes.
that, like,
Yeah.
mirrors what we want for our kids than to have all that.
Well, also those I mean, that's just teaching their own children that it's okay to be mean girls too, or
Yeah.
like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't do drama. I really
Yeah.
don't.
I
I
love
think
it.
I think you're either addicted to it and that because that's all you know, or you run as far away from it as possible,
Yeah,
and
right?
I'm definitely the latter,
Crater
like
that's crazy that Taylor and Justin both said that it's
yes,
addictive.
yeah, because
Yeah.
so many of my siblings are in different situations, and he's like, "Oh, that's all they know, Abby, like,
It's
that's just"
just
yeah.
constant.
And I'm like, "But that's all I knew too, but I didn't want that. I told myself I wasn't gonna have that." Like,
And then you have to keep yourself from trying to rescue that.
I know, 'cause there's no help.
You can't
No,
rescue it. Well, thank
no.
you for coming on today.
Yes,
It's
it
been
was
so
fun.
fun. Yes,
Yes.
until next time.
You've been listening to the Grit Crusade podcast with Brooke Plack. Our theme song is Thunder City by Lunar Ray, licensed through Soundstripe. This podcast was produced by Luminate Media Group. Thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next episode.